Welcome back to the Warrior's Garden. Today we're going to talk about how to find the red dot in your pistol sight every time. We're going to do our scripture reading and then we'll head over to the range. Today's scripture reading is Psalms 37 verses 16 through 19. Better is a little of the righteous than the abundance of the many wicked, for the arms of the wicked will be broken, but the Lord sustains the righteous. The Lord knows the days of the blameless, and their inheritance will be forever. They will not be ashamed in the time of evil, and in the day of famine they will have abundance. Red dots. They're becoming more and more prevalent as people transition away from their traditional irons and move to a red dot on their pistol. And with that comes people who don't know how to use it and complain about not being able to find the dot. So we're going to talk about today how you can find the dot quickly and easily and build good fundamentals that are going to allow you to find the dot every single time you present your firearm. So let's talk about it. The red dot is not moving. It is projected onto a piece of glass and it stays there. So any error that you have in not seeing the dot when you are presenting your firearm is on you, and you need to understand that it is not your dot. So we need to correct those errors so that you can become more proficient. And the first thing a lot of people want to do is immediately slap a mag in there and go fire some rounds downrange. However, I don't recommend that at all. I think you're implementing a lot of other factors and recoil that is going to make it much harder for you to learn and become proficient with this dot. Whereas if you just take some time and learn how to use it with some dry fire first, you're going to save yourself a lot of time, money, and hassle of getting frustrated with not finding your dot. So, dry fire. It's super important. A lot of people don't do it, and a lot of people don't do it enough, and it shows. So, when finding your dot, there's three main things that are kind of come into play. I guess two if you're not drawing from a holster, but most people are going to draw from a holster somewhere on their body when they're practicing a lot of times. The first thing is your draw. It needs to be consistent no matter where you're coming from. You need to do it the same way every time. You need to clear your clothing if that's what you're doing, or if you are drawing from outside the waistband, whatever it is, it needs to be the same motion that you need to practice. So in your dry fire, make sure you are practicing a consistent draw. From your draw, this goes hand in hand. All three of these are going to flow together. You need to have a good grip. You need to be getting the same grip on your pistol every single time so that when you present it, you're not holding the gun differently every time. You're not low on the gun and your support hand isn't changing. So you need to practice getting high up on the gun, getting a good grip with your support hand, a good mitigating recoil, or a good spot where you can mitigate recoil well. And you need to practice that. So a good grip on your gun is something you need to practice. And you need to fix it and realize when you're not getting a good grip. So when you're doing your dry fire and you present your gun and you realize, hey, my hand is slipping, I didn't get a good grip on it because I'm down here now, you need to fix that. And then in your next rep, you need to make sure you're getting a good grip that's consistent every single time. The final part of it is presenting the firearm. You need to present the gun the same way every single time. You need to bring the sight to your line of sight. A lot of people, what you're going to see is they're going to present the gun and then they're looking down for the sight or they're hunching over for it. Where I am looking is where I'm bringing my gun to. So I'm looking at you guys, so I'm going to bring my sight to my eyes. I am not moving my eyes or my head at all. My gun comes to my eyes. And with that, I try and keep the same positioning of my shoulders, my legs, and my elbows. I'm not locking my arms completely out, right? I'm not rolling my shoulders horribly. I'm not leaning back horribly. I'm not super spread out one time and super narrow in my feet this next time. I have the same stance every single time. I'm going to present the gun, and I'm going to bring the gun, like I said, to my line of sight. And the red dot should be there every single time. I have a little bit of flex in my elbows so I can mitigate recoil and movement and bouncing when I'm running if I'm shooting. I have good stance. So, the three main things. You need to draw your firearm the same way every time. You need to get a good, solid grip every time. And you need to present the firearm the same way so that you're not doing this like all your buddies you see at the range who can't find the dot when they sloppily draw their gun, have a poor grip, and a bad presentation, and then they're trying to find their dot. If you're willing to spend hundreds of dollars on a red dot, you should be willing to spend 5 minutes a day or whatever it takes you to become proficient at actually finding your dot so that you can use it on the live range and use it well the way it's meant and intended to be used. I don't understand why you'd spend so much money if you're not willing to just practice with it. Again, this is not something that's hard to do. This is something that you can do literally anywhere. You don't need live ammo. It doesn't cost anything more than what you already have. So just dry fire. It's not that hard. I bet you if all of you spent 5 minutes a day for a week practicing your draw, a good, consistent, tight grip, and your presentation, that you would be able to find the dot so much faster and so much better with just a week of practicing for 5 minutes a day. I encourage you to train with your stuff, do some dry fire, be a man. Thanks for watching.